Hello! Back for installment 2 of the Hugelkultur raised bed installation, or whatever you'd like to call it. So this is day 2, this is the next day. I had to work today, so I'm just doing this after work. Excuse me. But what I got finished yesterday was I got the box all put together, and then I got cardboard that I got from a furniture store. I read on the internet that it was a good place to get lots of large free cardboard boxes because I had been collecting them at work. I work in a kitchen in a hotel, and I got lots of small boxes like when I sheet mulched over there around the playset, but that was a real pain in the butt. Large boxes from the furniture store, and some of them were very large. I've never seen cardboard boxes so large. But so I got that under and in the bed after I got it all put together. I built it in like segments, like here's a panel that was put together, and then another panel, and then another panel, and then I joined them all together. Panel here, panel with you. Yeah, anyway. So then I collected a bunch of dead leaves and old sticks from like the corner of my yard back in this little shaded tree, this area over here. There's a bunch of trees, a bunch of leaves get caught up in the corners around the fence there, and so I got a bunch of that and some leaves from my neighbor's yard and put a layer of that down to help keep the cardboard moist and start the decomposition. Now today what I've just started doing is putting these big logs in here. I'm kind of starting at the ends and working my way towards the middle. Why? I don't know, it just seemed like something to do. I guess because I only have so many of the larger logs, and I guess I'd like them to be at the ends, and then I can pile up in the middle with the smaller one. I don't know. It just seemed to make sense in my brain. But just for some reference here, there's some pretty big logs. Here's a wheelbarrow full, and initially 3 years ago when we moved in, we had these cut from the front yard, and they were piled up along the side of the house here, and we were getting those earwigs attracted to them because they eat wood, I guess, or something. And so I moved them all to the back of the yard here. Oops. And there's this big old pile, and it's been sitting here for about 3 years, and they've been drying and rotting and rotting and drying, and they're not light, but they're much lighter now than when I first moved them. When they were green, man, they were heavy. And I didn't have a wheelbarrow back then, and I was just, I had to either just pick them up and carry them best I could, or some of these larger ones I had to just kind of roll along the ground. But yeah, it's not real fun, but as you can see, these have already been decomposing quite a bit. There's all kinds of stuff here going on, decomposition and little buggies, ants, things, and that's all good. That's all going to be great in the Hugelkultur bed because we're just mimicking this in the raised bed. We're mimicking a forest floor where dead organic matter has just been decomposing and it stays moist. That stuff feels moist. I just pulled a log off of that. It hasn't moved in years, but and you can see there's all kinds of fun colored fungus on here, and that's good too. I want that fungus in there because I want it doing in there what it's doing right here, which is breaking down this wood. It's decomposing the wood. The fungi are efficient at that. And so yeah, that's tonight's project. Is I'm just going to try and get the rest of the bed filled in with the logs, and then maybe start shoving some small sticks and stuff in all the crevices. And then the next step will be to maybe another layer of leaf mold, leaf litter and stuff like that. I'm still gotta go get some free manure from a guy on Craigslist. I just gotta work out a time when I can go do it and he can do it and everything else. And that's gonna go in there. My homemade compost. I've got a bucket of hardwood ash. I have a charcoal grill, and I use the lump hardwood charcoal. There's George Michael. I use the hardwood lump charcoal, and so it's just 100% natural. It's just carbonized wood, and so the ash from that is actually really good for gardens, for bringing a little bit of alkalinity and trace minerals and such. And so I'll be putting that in here. I've got a whole 5-gallon bucket full of coffee grounds that I collected at work at the hotel. We go through a lot of coffee, and I'm going to put that in here, and I'll probably do that soon because I'd like to take the bucket back and get another one, because this bed is bigger than I anticipated actually, and I could definitely put 2 buckets full of coffee grounds in here, no problem. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to moving these logs. Let's see, I don't do selfies, so I don't know if this is. So here's me working on this, but oh, and I started something just today that I'm calling the homestead diet, which is all I'm going to eat is food from the garden, from previous years that I've stored by canning, freezing, and drying, eggs for my chickens, and then dried beans and rice, and maybe some other grains, you know, different kinds of beans, like maybe some other grains like barley or oats, stuff that a homesteader would have had available to them at a general store or whatnot. They could have bought dry, because I can't grow wheat or you know, rice or anything like that. But beans I have quite a bit of growing, and I'll be eating on them soon. There's some nice little beans popping up everywhere. But so for a week I'm planning on eating nothing but beans and rice from the store or whatnot, and then garden vegetables and chicken eggs, and I'll have oil and butter to cook with, and salt and pepper and spices. I have some dried herbs and spices that I grew and ground myself, you know. So I think it'll be an interesting experiment, but whenever this gets going, that'll be good to help that sort of mentality of eating as much from your garden as you can, because you know, I'll be able to grow a lot more food now. So alright, that's it for this installment. Let's see if we zoom in on George Michael. That's probably blurry. George Michael. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Okay. I'll see you on the next installment.